Well, it is Easter week, just a few days from Easter, this Sunday coming up. And this is a time of year that we hit one of the holidays that's considered a fairly big holiday in the US for most people. And temptations and cravings start coming in for people. And um, definitely it's something that I have struggled with at different times. Other times I've done really well. And it'll be interesting to see just how it works out for me this year. I think things are going to be a little bit different this year. I'll explain a little bit about that. But let me kind of start with telling you a little bit about what I've been doing lately, eating wise. And I've kind of switched from basically, I was eating a lot of beef, some eggs, some bacon, and then a little bit of chicken, like chicken wings, maybe chicken thighs, that kind of stuff, occasionally pork, whatever. I've kind of switched and I'm mostly just beef now with some eggs. And this is just over the last week or two. Um, it's been mostly ground beef actually that I make into burger patties and then occasionally some sort of steak. And actually, at the moment here, I think I just ate my last steak a couple days ago. So I've been just eating ground beef. But here's the other thing that's kind of different with what I've been doing is before I was trying to eat as much as I could in one setting. And some days I would just eat that one meal. Other days I'd have to eat a second meal, that type of thing. Um, but I noticed that it just didn't seem like it was always working that great for me. I would eat a lot in one meal. I'd get pretty full, but then sometimes I'd still want to eat that second meal. So I've kind of switched a little bit. And where before I was eating probably a good pound and a half of beef in the first meal, I'm now eating about a pound of beef in that first meal. So I've been taking like a pound of beef, making burger patties, might add a few eggs in there with it, and then maybe 4 hours or so later, I'll have a second meal of about a pound of beef again. So I'm eating about 2 pounds of beef and usually maybe 4 to 6 eggs, something like that, in a particular day over 2 meals. And I've been doing that now for about a week or two, probably closer to 2 weeks actually. And the first thing that I've noticed is that maybe with some of the other foods that I was eating, it was causing some sort of stall. I don't know, pork could potentially, um, there was some cheese in there. Maybe a little bit of that was causing some issues, but there has not been any type of bloating or anything like that. And I've actually lost a few pounds. I've lost like 3 pounds. So I have to kind of see how that goes. Keep an eye on it. Now, I should say, I do have fermented foods, and there is some dairy based fermented foods that I eat. Now, I don't know that I should really say that I eat fermented foods. It's more of like a dip for, my regular food, my meat, the eggs, that kind of stuff. And basically, it's kefir or kefir, however you want to pronounce that. It's some whole milk yogurt, and then there could be occasionally some blue cheese. So I haven't really had that in a while here now, at least a week or so. Um, but it would be like aged blue cheese, something like that. But then the other thing is that I'll take some sauerkraut, mostly the liquid from the sauerkraut. Yes, sauerkraut comes from cabbage, so I get it. It's vegetable thing, but it has been fermented. So all of the toxins, all the plant toxins, all of the carbohydrate has been removed during the fermentation process. Um, and most of the time, I just do the liquid. I'll do a little bit of the actual cabbage, but usually it's just the liquid from it where I'm getting most of the good, microbes for my gut. And I will do some kimchi. Again, it's mostly the liquid from the kimchi. There'll be a little bit of the cabbage from the kimchi, but that kind of stuff happens. So those are my fermented foods. And, you can see from a bowl that I will just put them in, mix them into a bowl and use that as like a dip. And I just kind of dip my meat, whether it's steak, burger patty, whatever, and I dip that into it. So that's how I'm getting my microbes through every bite of food that I'm eating. And again, it's a small amount. Um, you don't really need a lot, to get the health benefits for your gut and so forth. So I do that. But other than that, it's been pretty much beef, eggs. Haven't had any bacon here recently. Did run out of bacon, but haven't had any of that. Haven't had any like hot dogs, sausage, that type of thing. Chicken wings, haven't had those for a little bit here. So it's been mostly the beef, and I'm feeling pretty good. You know, um, it's one of those things where I've kind of done this a little bit in the past, and I felt a lot better, energy wise and so forth, with eating almost exclusively beef. So I wonder, anybody else out there that does that, and do they feel that much better, or do you just have any experience with when you've tried eating just mostly beef? How's that worked out for you? I'd like to hear. Drop it in the comments below. I'd like to hear that. Okay, so back to the whole Easter thing. This year, I'm not exactly sure. It looks like we're going to be doing maybe a couple days early for Easter, but we're going to kind of do like we normally do with our Easter thing. But it's a little bit different this year because um, my wife is trying to eat a little bit healthier, cleaner than she has in the past. So I don't know that we're going to have a lot of carby type of foods. So I might not be tempted as much as normal, which is a good thing. Still don't know exactly what our foods are going to be. I know I've got some homemade kielbasa that I made, so I'm going to have pork there. But outside of that, I don't know. We've been talking about maybe a prime rib or something, so we'll see, or just a rib roast of some sort. Like a choice rather than prime, that type of thing. Although, well, technically prime rib doesn't stand for prime, but that's another story. So I guess it would kind of be a prime rib. But anyway, we're looking at kind of maybe potentially that. Thinking we probably have some deviled eggs, that type of thing. There's a good, carnivore based deviled egg recipe that I can use. Actually, my wife would probably be the one that would make it. So we're thinking maybe that type of thing. So we'll see. Yeah, there's probably gonna be some kind of potato that hopefully I stay away from. I've been really clean with my eating lately, and I think that I have a good chance of being pretty clean with it. But anyway, that's kind of what we're looking at, I think, for Easter. Wondering as we're coming up to Easter, what your thoughts are. What do you guys eat for Easter? Go ahead and drop that down in the comments below. I'd like to hear like what you're going to be eating for Easter this year. Some people do ham, some people do prime rib, like I said. They might do something else, roast or even steak of some sort. People sometimes just do steak. So it'd be interesting to hear what everybody does for Easter. And of course, not everybody celebrates Easter or anything. And that's fine. It's everybody's personal choice. I know people that do Easter but don't really necessarily celebrate the meaning behind the holiday as well. They just kind of do Easter, get together with a family. It's a reason for the family to get together and that kind of stuff. But anyway, so that's kind of the update. I will be live this Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central with Johnny. So tune in for us then. And right now, it looks like I'm going to have a live stream on Friday morning too with one of the doctors. So be on the lookout for that.